I've been telling people for the longest time to raise your awareness. Pay attention to what you're hearing out of the mainstream propaganda ministries and understand that whatever they're telling you, the polar opposite is obviously true. Just as an example, where Powell out here, Fed Chair Powell, is giving his testimony before Congress right now, and it's unbelievable that he can say the things that he's saying without getting any kind of pushback at all. For example, he's talking about inflation. They're in this big fight, and we can expect prices to drop sometime in the future. But seriously, the Fed's been at this fake narrative here for I don't know how long, that they're in the fight of their lives. They want to bring down inflation. It's done nothing but go higher, but there's no accountability. And he's just using he's regurgitating the same line right now before Congress. Things are going to get better. Things are going to get better. Meanwhile, we were, lied to from the get-go. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't transitory. We all understood, people that follow our work, that there was no way inflation was going to drop anytime soon. Meanwhile, we were told it was going to be. Again, every single projection that the Federal Reserve and other central banks around the world have fist-fed to we, the people of the world, has been completely wrong. And this is by design. It's a lie. It's a fairy tale. As a matter of fact, I spoke about that this morning. What did we find out just today? Core prices continue to rise. They're telling us what's going on here. Strip out food, strip out energy, because the price fluctuations, they're temporary too. And core prices are still rising. You can't make any of this stuff up. But again, there is zero accountability, and nothing bothers me more than that. And that's what's going on right now. It's a freak show. You got Powell right now testifying before Congress. No legitimate questions. It's all going to be fake. And thank you, sir, for your service and all that nonsense. And it's just revolting to me. Thank goodness we have people, you and I, this guy, talking about the deceptions, the distractions, the look here's, the don't look there. It's unbelievable. I call it the freak show. It's an absolute. Even with regard to leading indicators, every single leading economic indicator is pointing towards our economy getting much worse off than it is now. Even inflation indicators are pointing to this is going to get much worse before it gets better here. The biggest indicator people need to, it's in our face here, is this yield curve. The yield curve is the most inverted it has ever been, ever been. So, I ask people, don't take my word on this, but look it up for yourself. What does it mean when the yield curve inverts, as it has been now for quite a while, with no end in sight here? It's going to be made. We've been seeing some pretty erratic action here in the debt market as of late. 10-year yield bouncing up and down like a yo-yo. The entire yield curve itself moving up and down like a yo-yo. This is not normal. The debt market is supposed to be a rock. It's supposed to be stable. It's clearly unstable. And to me, looking at the yield curve, it just gives us it tells us what we already know, that all of this is going to end very, 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 very badly for those people that are invested in the market. At one point, it's going to turn around, but there's some kind of a mania going on right now. Ever since the Federal Reserve here with their pause, if you want to call it that. This was a signal to the stock market. Hey, don't worry about it. We got your back, at least for now. And there's a lot of effort going in to keep the debt market propped up by, the Fed's buying all the debt here. It's kind of interesting. We just found out that money markets are actually increasing their exposure to the debt market. This is the time bomb. Money markets are widely held. You got generally money markets, they have their assets allocated in many different ways, but generally it's just considered a safe investment. And they do generally have some cash on the side. And what they're doing now, these institutional money market investors, companies is they're putting their cash to work in the debt market, which is a monster ready to go off. It's a time bomb, and that's going to destroy people as well. Anyway, it's there's so many facets to this. And everything that you and I have been covering for years and years and years, honestly, is coming to pass. Every freaking thing. It's not, people can look at our work from years ago and say, hey, these guys said this was going to happen, and it is. So I think people who are paying attention to this video right now should maybe give it a little more attention, because, again, I guarantee you there's no doubt, in my mind at least, that what we're talking about here is going to come to pass as well. Well, people shouldn't be chasing anything, in my view here. When you chase something, like, it almost sounds like sitting at a roulette table here, maybe playing like a martingale scheme or something along those lines here. You chase things, eventually it's going to come and bite you. The debt market is the greatest threat to the world economy, the world financial system, the world markets, and it's clearly unstable. It's massively unstable. And every single time, it's a phenomenon that I watch over and over again, and I'm sure you do too. You watch bond yields all of a sudden just rising, and it seems like it's getting out of control. Then all of a sudden, just by some miracle, it just all happens to drop. I mean, who's doing that? Who's at just the opportune time is getting in here and buying all the debt, keeping it suppressed like this? Obviously, we know it's central banks. I mean, people need to understand that when any central bank they're not magic. They can't say something without having to act on it. When they say we're going to keep rates at X, Y, Z, whatever it might be, they have to get into the market and make it happen. They're creating cash out of thin air, which is massively inflationary, buying all the debt, massively inflationary, and they want us to believe that they're in the fight of their lives here. But I think it's extremely dangerous to chase anything. Even you want to put your cash into a bond here, you're guaranteed to lose money based against the actual rate of inflation, or even the inflation rate they're telling us we have. It's an incredible thing, but people are doing that. They feel that, okay, at least I'm going to put look, in my view, people need to step back and look at the bigger picture here. You literally can't be in cash. That's a fact. Cash is being decimated here. Central banks in a race to the bottom. They're deliberately crushing or sucking out the purchasing power of their currencies collectively. They've been doing this for years, something we've covered many, many times. It's not going to get any better. The debt market, these money market accounts now buying debt. I understand that that's part of how they work here, but it's just, putting more cash to work in the debt market here. It's very risky, in my view, and in my opinion, because we're going to get a sell-off here in the debt market, and it's going to happen. I don't know when. I don't want to put a finger on it. I don't talk about tops or bottoms or anything anymore, but it's a dangerous spot to be in here. And as we all know, at least I hope people understand, the stock market, real estate, and pretty much every single other asset derives value from action that's happening in the debt market, meaning that everything is a derivative. We live in a world of derivatives. Do you know, and you probably know this, the top 3 banks with derivative exposure, we're talking about Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Citigroup, over 153 trillion just in those 3 banks, the derivative exposure. It's pretty incredible. Look, this whole thing is built in derivatives. What is a derivative? People don't even hear that word and they think it's like something from outer space. It's very simple to understand. A derivative is just a side bet on an underlying asset, whatever it might be. And then there's not just one side bet. There are multiple layers of this on either side, and it can't be quantified. It can't be measured. So no one actually knows how big the debt market derivatives actually are, or derivatives at face value. It's beyond anybody's ability to even comprehend, because it can't be measured. So it's a frightening prospect to think about. But again, what are they doing? We're hearing all of this talk, especially lately, about these central bank digital currencies. We got the IMF yesterday talking about how they're putting together a global infrastructure to allow central bank digital currencies to work in concert together cross-border without causing any problems. So it's all out there. I think people that follow our work are well aware of where this is going and how it's going to play out. And I want people to just be ready for it. It's amazing. I talked about this just today in my pre-market video. Think about it. People, I think, for the most part, and I would say for the most part, are grossly opposed to the central bank digital currency. But meanwhile, it's being forced down our throat. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. I mean, right now the system is 99% digital as it is. And, when I was in Florida, just over the weekend, I happened to notice signs in a couple of the places I just happened to go in, like buy souvenirs and stuff. We will not be accepting cash on X date. So they're already telling us where this is going. You got to swipe, or they're not going to take you. Imagine they're not going to take you. Walk in there with a $10 bill, a $20 bill. They won't take it. That's interesting in my view. And I've been to, even out here in Las Vegas, there's a couple of places with these signs. We will not be accepting cash. It's the writing is on the wall, people. So just get with the program here. Either do something about it, revolt. We need a revolution. I've been telling people, it's crazy. I was even saying this morning, and somebody reacted not very kindly. I said we may even need a violent revolt. And the person wrote back to me, "Oh, never a violent." I said, "Well, even Christ revolted violently against the money changers in the temple," and that should tell us something. This thing is getting out of hand here, in my view.